Hey everybody, it's Chris Eve, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I did not go to the movies this week, which is good because I have a lot of gaming stuff to talk about, so let's just jump right in. The first thing I wanted to talk about was they announced new DLC for Disney Dreamlight Valley. First, there is free DLC that is coming out with a new star path and a new character. This time it's Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And this DLC will also include floating islands, which are basically the same biome, but as a floating island that's completely clean for you to decorate. And there's nothing in the way. There's no unmovable, land escape items that you have to decorate around like in the actual game. It's clean, and you can just put things wherever you like. It wasn't entirely clear from the presentation whether this is just for fun decorating and to show off your decorating skills, or if it functions as an extension of the valley, because I would like to be able to put some of these houses and stuff up there, because, as I've said before, they keep adding characters to the game, which is great, because it's all this free DLC that just keeps coming and the game stays alive. Something that Animal Crossing did not do. So I like that, I appreciate it, except that every time they add a new character, they have a house that you have to find someplace to put. And it's super irritating. And sometimes, as in the case of Tiana or Daisy, they have a house, but then they also have a business that you have to find somewhere to put it. And it's really frustrating. You run out of room very quickly and everything gets very cluttered. So, I want to be able to expand into these floating islands so that I can make some breathable space in my valley. That'll be really helpful. But in addition to the free DLC, they also announced there's new paid DLC, and you get new characters, and one of the characters, of course, I love it, Maleficent. Remember, a couple episodes ago, I was complaining about how they added Lion King, and I wanted somebody cool like Maleficent, and now we're getting Maleficent, and proper cartoon Maleficent, and they hinted that at the end of that paid DLC, you will get Sleeping Beauty as well, so that's cool. So I'm very psyched for that. But I realized, I still haven't played the first DLC. But, as luck would have it, as they announced this cool new paid DLC, they put the base game and the first DLC on sale. So I was able to get it for $30. No, 20. It costs 30 normally, and I got it on sale for 20. And I still had enough in my account from the gift card that I got for Christmas or my birthday or whatever. It's just been sitting in there. So when I've bought things like Dresser or the Quarry, I've just been eating away at that. But there was still just enough, not quite $20. So they had to charge my credit card the tax. They charged it $1.67 or whatever. But that was great. So now I have the first DLC for Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I have to say, there's a lot to do there. I shouldn't have been surprised. I should have expected this, because the free DLC is just here's a new character and a friendship quest, But here you're paying money, so you should be getting this kind of substantial content with multiple new areas, multiple new characters, and there's a new tool. You have this big giant wand that's some kind of hourglass, even though it's not an hourglass, it's a wand, whatever. And you use that, and that's your new tool that you can use, and you have to gather mist, which is the new Dreamlight, because you need mist to unlock more and more of Eternity Isle. And it's there's a lot to do. And I'm I'm not going to finish this by the time I get to November 20th, which is when the new DLC releases. I'm I'm certainly not going to finish this by November 20th. But I realized that's okay, because the first part of the new Disney Dreamlight Valley DLC includes the girl from Brave, which I've actually never seen, and the guy from Tangled, whose name I don't even remember. I've seen the movie a few times, but I don't remember his name. He's just generic handsome prince guy. And all I know is that he was voiced by Zachary Levi, who unfortunately has turned out to be a shitty person, so whatever. So I don't care about the first half of this DLC. I care about the second half where you get Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty. But that isn't scheduled to be released at all. They're just saying summer 2025. So I have plenty of time. And I'm also hoping that somewhere between November 20th and the nebulous summer 25 date, it'll go on sale maybe, like in March or something, April. You know, they'll throw it on sale for $20 and I'll just keep an eye out. And when it does go on sale, I'll snatch it up. That way I can do the first half so that when the second half does release, I can just jump right in and get Maleficent immediately. Because I am very excited for classic cartoon characters. And it makes sense that they would put those kinds of classic cartoon characters in paid DLC, you know, because that's what you want. You want the cool classic Disney characters, not these new random Pixar people. You know, like I feel like if they're ever going to put Snow White in this game, they'll do it as paid DLC, not free DLC. And they probably would, well, no, they can't, because I would think they'd tie it into the new live action Snow White, which is totally going to suck, but it would make sense to time it like that. But that's coming out next year, and they're already doing this DLC, so I guess they're not going to do that. So never mind. Forget it. It was just an idea. Sorry, Gameloft. You'll have to wait. Anyway, so I've been playing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley, but not as much as you might think, because I have been preoccupied with other things. Because, as I said last episode, I knew that I did not have much left, and I did finish Europa. And much to my surprise, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was possible to make a Zen platformer. Platformers are stressful and annoying. This was totally Zen. I do have to say, in the end, the story didn't quite work for me. Excuse me. It's fine. Like, all the adventuring and exploring and everything, it's fine. And you collect the diary entries as you go, and it tells you the history. But it turns out that it's like learning the history of Europa is basically the story. Because you're working your way to that floating city, and then when you get there, it seems like you're building to this big climax, and they kind of make it seem like this. I'm trying not to spoil the ending of the game. They make it seem like something's going to happen, but then it doesn't happen, and then the game ends without that happening. And it's sort of a bit of a letdown. It's sort of disappointing almost, and you're just sort of like, well, but wait. And then the actual way that the game ends, no spoilers, leaves your character seemingly not able to do the thing that you thought was going to happen. So I'm not really sure. The ending sort of didn't quite work for me. But that's literally like the very end of the game, where you're like, wait, what? So everything else is great. And I do have to say, I enjoyed it. And because it took me so long to play, it's not a long game, but it's only $15. So I feel like it's appropriately priced. And I can recommend it for that price. I'm not saying wait for it to go on sale. It's fine. Because it took me so long to play, they released an update. And in that update, they did not add a photo mode, sadly. But they did add a Zen mode, which is another mode that you can play the game where the enemies don't attack you. So it's super Zen, and all you're doing is exploring. And that's cool. But the thing is that the enemies attacking you, it doesn't really, like, affect your game. There's no game over. You just get knocked down, and you get back up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. And it doesn't really impact your game. It's just a minor annoyance. So I guess it's nice to have the ability to not have to deal with the minor annoyance, whatever. And then the other thing that they did is at the end of the game, once you finish the game, the main story, you can then select chapters, and you can pick whichever chapter you want to do, and you can replay that chapter so that you can go back in and find the emeralds that are hidden around the levels. Because at the end of the game, in the floating city, there's this area where there's these, there's these little crystals all lined up in rows. And I was like, what is this? And I was looking for something to activate, but there's nothing to activate. And then I noticed the numbers on the floor. So it's like, oh, these are the crystals that I found in each level. And I'm like, okay, I missed 1 in level 2, and I missed like 3 in level 5, and oh well. So you can go back and collect those emeralds. The thing is that I don't think I'm going to actually go back and collect those emeralds because it doesn't affect the game. If collecting all of the emeralds changed the ending of the game, I would totally do it. I would actually make that effort to get a different ending to the game. And maybe that thing that you thought was going to happen would happen. But unfortunately, everything I've seen, it doesn't really do anything. It's just like, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you completed this challenge. And I'm like, I don't care about that. Because the Switch also doesn't even have trophies like the PlayStation. So I'm like, I'm not even going to get like a trophy for it, So there's really no point in doing it. But I do recommend it. It's absolutely gorgeous. The worlds that you're exploring, it's visually stunning. And the soundtrack is tremendous. Love it. And they finally, this weekend, I found that they finally put it on Spotify, both of them. There's the original soundtrack, and then there's also the Ambient Moods soundtrack. And both of those, it was available if you bought it on Steam. If you have a PC or a Steam Deck and you want to buy Europa, I recommend splurging the extra $10 to get the deluxe set that comes with both soundtracks and a digital art book. Because the soundtracks are terrific. If you think you'll listen to them, then I recommend spending the extra money. But that wasn't an option on the Switch. So I was very excited when they finally put them on Spotify because I've been checking for it for a while. It's just lovely, soothing music, and I enjoy it immensely. So I recommend Europa if you enjoy platformers and want a nice chill zen experience in a Studio Ghibli kind of inspired sci-fi world. I enjoyed it. And I did finish it in time for Halloween so that I was able to start playing the Quarry for Halloween because it's appropriate. Although I will say that the Quarry isn't super scary, at least not yet. I haven't jumped or been scared or anything. There have been a couple of moments where I'm like, ooh, but nothing jarring. Basically, it's another supermassive interactive horror movie game like Until Dawn. And this time it's a bunch of summer camp counselors who are stuck at the summer camp for one more night. And they are told to stay in the lodge where they will be safe. And they do not. And terrible things, of course, happen. So I think I'm about just past the halfway point. I'm not done yet. Just past the halfway point. Because the beginning is all set up and establishing the characters and the settings, and you're exploring the areas and getting a feel for the camp and the characters. And I have to say, like good horror movies, this does a good job of establishing the characters and making them mostly all very likable. Well, except for Jacob. He's kind of a dick. But he's not a horrible dick, he's just kind of an annoying dick. So if he died, I'd be annoyed. I might be a little sad, but I wouldn't be super sad. I'm not as invested in him as I am in some of the other characters. Though I will say that I really enjoyed that they Supermassive included beefcake as well as cheesecake, because when Jacob and his summer camp girlfriend Emma go skinny dipping, well, obviously it's not skinny dipping because it's only rated M. There's no actual nudity, they're in their underwear. He is showing off in his boxer briefs, and while the animation's not great, it's a little wonky, but it's fine. I appreciate that, he hears a noise and he goes to investigate it, and he has spent the next subsequent chapters running around in his boxer briefs the whole time, which is hilarious to me. Her follow-up chapter, she is in her underwear for a little bit, and then she finds some clothes, and she gets dressed. So she's dressed in jeans and a t-shirt she found, and he's still running around in his underpants. And I was like, thank you for that. It's only computer graphics, but it's still enjoyable that, he's still running around naked as opposed to the girl. It's a nice change of pace. There's also this like little flirtation between Ryan and Dylan that I'm like super into, except now that I've reached the point in the game where things are going to shit and, you know, people are in jeopardy and almost dying. I don't think that there's going to be a moment between them unless it's a final moment because one of them is dying. So far, I've kept everyone alive, except for one character who I believe, based on the way the game has played out, there have been scenes where I feel like somebody could have died but didn't, so I'm like, yay, I kept them alive. But there's one character where something happens to them where I'm pretty sure that just for the sake of the story, this always happens and there's no way to prevent it. So I'm like, okay, fine. The gameplay is pretty much the same as Until Dawn, except for the fact that they changed the Don't Breathe gameplay, where in Until Dawn, there were moments where you're hiding from the killer or the monster, or whatever you're hiding from, and you have to hold the controller really, 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 really still. And there were times where it became so crucial that I would literally put it down on the coffee table. I was just like, I need this to stay still. Like, I don't trust myself. I don't want this person to get killed. So I could cheat. And I feel like they were like, oh, people are just putting it down on the table or the floor and they're cheating, so let's change it. The problem is that what they changed it to was just holding down the X button. And you hold down the X button until the red goes away and it's quiet, and then you can release it and then you get up. And I'm like, well, that's even lamer. Like, there's no challenge to that. I don't get it. Like, the quick time events are harder than that. So, the graphics are good. It's funny, it's on the PS5, and it's that weird uncanny valley thing where sometimes the faces look completely super realistic with amazing lighting and they look like the actor that they are who's portraying the role. And then other times they're running or walking and it's super weird and it's like, well, that's not motion captured. But, you know, so it's a little hit or miss graphically. But I'm enjoying the story, and I'm hoping that, like Until Dawn, you think it's going one way, but there's like twists ahead, because I feel like I know what's happening, and now I need to find out that there's more going on than meets the eye. So come back next episode, and maybe I'll have finished it. I don't know. I might, now that Halloween has passed, I might not be in the mood for a horror movie, and I'll play more Disney. Also, I found that I need to, when I'm playing the Quarry, I prefer it to be very quiet so I can focus. Because I was trying to play it the other day, and my husband was at the computer, and he's like doing stuff, and like coughing and whatever, and I'm just like, you're making noise, and it's very distracting, and I'm not enjoying the game, and I have to wait until you're not here, and then I can play it in quiet. Preferably in the dark, but again, like I said, it's not that scary. So come back next time and see if I finished the Quarry, and I'll have other things to talk about. Maybe I'll go into the movies, and I'll see you then. Bye!